So, as you can see here, I've gone ahead and I've started further down on the Santa Claus tutorial. I'm going to go ahead and show you. So I started by taking these lines here, the center line and the bottom of the nose line. I cut in about 1/2 inch here and about 1/4 inch here. Here I went straight down and came from, let's say, about 1/2 inch below and cut up to my line. Then here I went about 1/4 inch down. Now I went from about 1/8 of an inch up top, down, and about 3/8 the nose side and up. So now that I had those lines, I outlined by cutting straight down. I'm going to take my knife here just to show. I went straight in and down, and then used my knife to go along the side here. And just block out the nose. It's the most important part of it's going to be the most prominent feature of your Santa Claus. And that's why we want to block that in first. Once we have that blocked in, we can start working around it. So now that we have that, I'm going to extend this kind of cutting here a little bit. So we're going to cut around it. I'm going to cut around here. Just rough out a little bit. I may do 1/2 and show you how to do that, because otherwise this video may take too long. It's not a short process, that's for sure. So there we go. Now we're onto the mustache. Now I've drawn it out here. This is just one style. There is an infinite amount of styles that you can do, and do whatever you prefer. As you can see, this shape is very not what I want in the end yet, but that's okay. I'm just going to show you, if you want to do this exact one, as we said, 3/4 inches from the center line is where I ended my nose. Now, from there, 3/4 inches is where the bottom of my mustache ends. And it ends about 1/2 inch from the edge here. But like I said, a mustache, the shape is not critical as long as it's symmetrical. You want it to be even on this side and this side. That's something you're going to notice right away if it's not right. So I'll go ahead and block this in. So I found out that it's very weird to carve with a camera in between you and the workpiece, so I apologize for any weird kind of angles that may happen there, but that's just the way it happens. So as you can see, it's blocked out. I've got the lines cut in, and we're getting a little bit more of the shape down. Now I'll move on to the eyes, and I will show you in a second what those look like after drawing them in. Right, so here we go. You're going to notice some lines right here, right there, and this is a reference line. It was a little higher than I wanted, but I drew it in, and this line, you'll see that I've transferred those over here. The reason I do that is because it's important to keep your eyes kind of spaced equally, and I personally, starting carving, have had trouble making sure my eye on the left looks the same as my eye on the right. And if you don't make them look the same, you'll notice right away. Now that I've also blocked this in, I've kind of given a rough shape, as you can see here and here to the bottom of the beard. I've drawn in a rough kind of line where my top of my hat's gonna come. Those don't have to be in there yet. I just like to have them in there. Kind of gives me a view of what the face will look like eventually. As you can see, I went ahead, shaped the bottom of the beard, just give it a rough shape. I like to do, as you can see a little bit here actually, I just noticed a little bit of a mistake right there. You can see I've kind of rounded out the back. It's just something that I prefer to do. It's absolutely not necessary, but that is everyone's personal preference. So yeah, there we go. Next, I'll move on to the eyes, and I will show you how I cut the eye sockets really. So we'll go into a time lapse in a sec here, but first I am going to cut straight down all the way around. I'm not going to do it right now, but I'll follow this line right here. Now if I had a chisel, I usually use right here, which is my 8/4. Ooh, let's see if that focuses. My 8/4 to follow this line. Now it gives a little bit more of a natural look. It's not so harsh of a line, but you don't need it. And since this is a beginner/low budget tutorial, we'll just do it with a knife instead. And that's all. Oh, let's focus here. There we go. That's all I'm going to do right now. It's a little bit rough, as you can see right here. That's what happens with a knife. We can clean this up with sanding and work with the knife afterwards. But that's all we want to do. We want to cut straight down, follow the line, and then work up and around, up and around. Now, next, we're going to carve out the cheeks a little bit. It doesn't, as you can probably see in your own face in the mirror every day, your eyes don't just roll into your cheeks naturally. So we want to kind of hollow these out a little bit. And it's really hard to get my camera to focus. Here we go. So we get these to focus. You come from up top, a little bit below, up top again. And all we're trying to do, I don't know if you can see this. Oh, let's get this to focus a little. There we go. So we're just trying to hollow this out, and we're trying to round over this area right here. Now, is this exactly how a human face looks? Not exactly, but this is a cartoon/caricature of a Santa, so it doesn't have to be exact. It's the beauty of it. All right, so you can see I've gone ahead, I've done the second side of this. Now, this next thing is, for me, I will follow this line of the hat. I'm going to separate the hat away from the face. The reason I like doing this is because now I can start working up and rough finishing stuff up to this hat while leaving this virtually untouched. I don't have to do anything to this to make the face look good. So I'm going to separate that by cutting it all down, straight down following the line, and then cut up to it from the bottom, about 1/4 inch all the way around, and we'll go into that time lapse right now. So, as you can see, I've separated the head away from the hat, the face from the hat, so to speak. And now you can really start seeing. I can work on this whole part here, finish it, without even having to touch the hat, which is, for this tutorial, that's kind of nice. When I carve them, usually I kind of do everything at once, but I like doing it step by step this way. So let's go ahead and separate the face away from the beard and the side of the hair. So I'll show you what that looks like in a second here, and then we'll show you how to carve that. So as you can see here, after this step, I will show you the carving to it in a sec. After this step, you will really start to see the face take shape. Everything is still a little rough right now. Everything is still, you can see the end product, but it's still quite far away. After this step, you really start seeing what it's going to look like. And look at that. There he is. There is the rough out of Santa. This is, for me, always the most exciting part. This is where you can start seeing, you know, there's still work ahead. There's always stuff to do, but this is where you can see the face coming together. Perfect. Let's move ahead. So next step for me usually is, as you can see, sorry here, I just wanted to point one thing out. I've defined these lines a little bit more by coming in from the mustache side, clearing this out a little bit. Next step for me will be to give the bottom of the mustache shape. And I usually start from right here, and I just go along the bottom, just like this. We're just trying to knock the sharp edge off. And you come from the other side, and you meet, well, not quite in the middle, but You get my drift. All right, and we're trying to knock those sharp edges off. We're trying to make sure that we get a little bit more of a natural shape to it. There we go. Same thing here. We knock some of the sharp edges out the front. There we go. That's just some cleanup work done. You can see that. It's a little bit. See, as a side profile, it's much nicer with the rounded over shape. Oh, let's focus there. Oh, camera. There we go. See, much nicer in the side profile like this. So now my next step is going to be the nose. And what I'm going to start doing is I'm going to round off these corners here. And that's pretty easy. I can do the same right over here. Round off this corner. Boom. That's that part done. Now, it's important that you do this evenly again. So as I said, while you do this, if you're not sure or you're not confident, take a line and transfer it all the way over. It's the best way. It takes extra time, but it's the best way to make, oh, this line's crooked. But it's the best way to make sure it all works out evenly. It's really hard to draw while looking at the camera view. So now what I do, I put my knife here and I'm going to make an upward twisting cut. I'm going to put my knife down here, up and twist, just like that. Now, the other side, I'm not ambidextrous, so I have to flip upside down and I'm going to have to pull and twist here. It's hard to make these look the same. It's going to be really hard to do this while working through my camera screen here. I don't have any equipment except for my phone. Oh, that's pretty good. There we go. So what you get here is a little bit more of that nose shape. I'm going to knock the front edges, sharp edges off this nose. Faces don't really have sharp edges. Nature doesn't really have sharp edges much, except for if you look at rocks and that kind of stuff, of course. But like living things don't tend to have many sharp edges. Everything is a little rounded over. So that's what we're going to do here, and that's what sanding in the end is going to be very important for. It will knock off all those harsh looking edges and make it look a lot more natural and a little bit better. So now what I'm doing here is I'm shaping the side of the nose by just going in like that. And then, using the tip of my knife, cutting up and cutting away that debris. Same up and away motion. The up and away curl motion here. Right? So, as we do that here, and we look at our nose, it's a little bit off balance, but that's okay. We haven't done the other side yet. So let me clean this up, and I will get back to you once I've done the other side. So Santa has a nose. You can see it right here. It's starting to look very good. So now I'm going to want to make, ooh, let's focus here, phone. Get on it. It's Friday for everyone, apparently. We want to make this cut out here. And we're going to make the same on the side. Usually I use a chisel, but in honor of the cheap and non-chisel performance, I'm just going to make a V cut. Does it look as good? No, it does not. But is it cheaper? Does it knock down on tools? Is it more accessible for everyone? Yes. There we go. That's one side done. I'll do the same on the other. Oh, cut down. Cut down. And that's what I want to do with this video. I want to make this accessible. I'm a beginner carver myself. I was very lucky and grateful to get this set of carving tools from my parents for my wedding. Actually, it's from my grandma for my wedding. But not everyone has that chance. So I want to make this more accessible for anybody that wants to learn how to carve. And there we go. There we go. Let's try to focus. That's a lot better. Still needs a lot of cleaning up, and that's what later on will be for. I'm just trying to move ahead with the showing, or with the carving of the face, so it doesn't take forever. So, in the spirit of making this video a little bit more user-friendly, eyes are where everything can go wrong, and I will do another video on making one with eyes. For now, I am going to make this a sleeping Santa. He'll be having his eyes closed. So you will still get the basic shapes of the eye down, but we won't have to deal with painting the eyeballs or cutting the eyeballs. So again, I've laid out my eyes here, my eyelids, and I want to do this beforehand and look that I like the look of it. So I like the look of it. Now I will cut straight down, come from the bottom, come from the top, and then I will add an eyelet down below. And I will show you that in the next little clip. So, as with the previous side, I'm going to do one side first, and then I'm going to copy the other side off camera. So, as you can see, I made the line. I decided to add this little down cut here because I needed it. So, I did that while carving. Now, as you can see, it's hard to see on camera, but I've rounded over the top of the eyelid right here. So I cut down more and then rounded over from here. I'll counted this as my center point and used my thumb as leverage to carve over, round over the top. So now I've added the bottom eyelid here, and I'll be cutting that in, and I'll show you what that looks like. So there we go. This is where we are. Santa has eyes, has no hat yet, but now, since we're only doing a knife, I'm going to add texture to the beard. I usually do this myself, but it's not necessary if you have chisels. So I will show you what that looks like. Each line I will cut straight down, and then I will cut from both the top and the bottom. Basically a V groove on this line, this line, this one, this one, this one, all the way around. And it will texture the beard a little. It'll give him a little bit more of a realistic sense. So I will do that, and I will get back to you to show you the result. And there we go. One side of Sleeping Santa is done. I've cut the eyelid, so as you can see, cut straight down following my line. Then from the cheeks, I cut up to said line, following this trajectory right here. And I stop right where that downturn in the eyelid was. That's what I go up to. And then I flip everything around, and I follow the bottom of my eyelid. I go across all the way down to that line, and I went across like this. And now what I've created is a round eyeball. I've created a round eyeball that's shut. So there we go. Oh, there we go. That's cleaned up. And I'll do the other side off camera and show you what it looks like. So there we are, people. This is basically the end of the carving of the face. Can you go further? Absolutely you can. If you have chisels, and I usually do go further than this, you can texture the beard. Each and every one of these segments can get its own texture to it. But for now, of course, all of this is very not cleaned up yet, and that will happen in sanding and the final prep. But for the sake of this video, that's it. That's the face. Here we have Santa. I'm going to move on to the hat, which is going to be a lot simpler. I'm just going to give a kind of style hat that I like to do. So we'll see where that goes. I'll show you in a sec. But yeah, here you have Santa's face for you. Is all done? Oh, actually, no, I forgot. I'm looking at the side profile. There's a little bit too much of a bump right here. Ooh, right there. So what I'm going to do, I'm going to cut that down a little bit right there. It's all the little details that take time. You can keep going on this for as long as you want. So I'm making a little bit of a channel right here, knocking the sharp edges off. There we go. That's a lot better already. It's a little bit smoother. Santa's sleeping. But yeah, this is as far as you, if you don't want to go any further, this is as far as you have to go before you can sand it, paint it, and make it look quite good, I would say. So onto the hat. I'll draw it all on and then I will show you what I do. Here we go. Taking my pencil and using my finger pencil magic technique, I've drawn a line right here, gone to the other side, copied this line right here, just so that we're even on both sides again. I've extended it up and out, across, and to make sure those were at the same height, again, took my, oh, come on, focus. Oh, sorry people, does not want to focus. There we go. Anyways, draw the line there, and then we get an even hat. Is this a traditional Santa hat? Of course it's not. But it does give me a nice looking hat. I like it, and it's easier to do. So now I'm gonna give a time-lapse video of me defining this top edge right here. And then afterwards, I will shape the outside of the hat, and then I will go to the side and I will shape the side of the hat. We have the profile right here. Now, as you can see, there's a angled cut at the top here, and I'm gonna try to, I've still got partial line here, so I don't need to redraw it, but you can if you want to. And I'm going to transfer this angle all the way across. Just cutting like this, trying to be careful, not cutting my finger, which I do a lot. Do recommend getting gloves for you guys. I personally like the feel I get just not wearing gloves. Not a big glove fan, but I'm also I don't want anyone to cut himself and then tell them that I sent them there, that I made them cut themselves. So wear your gloves. Don't blame me if you don't. And here we go. And as you can see, I've got this hollowed outside here. We've done this to this profile. So now we want to bring this hollowed out to this profile, which is fairly easy to do. You just start at the line and you cut down and in. Down, 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 down. There we go. And we're trying to round this out. This is supposed to be a round hat. So there you go. One side done. Over to the other side right here. And you are going to notice that you're going to get calluses in weird places if you do decide to take this up. I have calluses right on the side of my finger there. Look at that. Very attractive purple finger. But there we go. That's top of the hat done. Next step is to round over this top edge, round over this bottom edge, and sand, and we are done, people. We are there. We're gonna be done this Santa very soon. So, as you can see, I use my thumb as leverage again. Start on one side, work my way around. Work my way around. Work my way around, like this. Always use your thumb as leverage. Always, if possible, cut away from yourself. If you cut away from yourself, you can't cut yourself. Good rule. So there we go. Do the same on this bottom edge. It's a little bit more difficult, a little bit harder to grip. Camera is still weird in between my carving and myself here. there we go. I round over this top edge and this bottom edge. Same thing on this side. There we go. Now that the bulk is removed, I'll come back, do a little bit of this, just to knock, again, some of the harder edges off. Same thing on the bottom. Knock some of these harder edges off. Cut up. Find that forehead. There we go. Oh God, sorry about the camera work here, guys. This is my very first video. I'm not very good at it, clearly. And there we go. People, we have done it. If you have been following along this whole time, I want to congratulate you. That was a slog. That was a slog for me. It's, I'm going to continue working on this because that's always what I do, but there we go. That's Santa. Santa's done. I don't like the way his hair is lined up on this side. Sorry. There we go. That's better. There we go. That's one sleeping Santa. I'll probably define the eyes a little bit more if I have, well, no, that's just the lighting. Never mind. It's off to sanding. I'll show you what that looks like. And we're done. Thanks for following along. Show you from the top here if it will focus. There we go. As you can see, I've taken a lot more off the front than I have off of the sides. That's because this block's a triangle and I'm trying to make it round. Actually, pretty good view of that right here. So I will go ahead and knock the front of this off like this, and like this. Now, it's not perfect, but that's a lot better. There we go. Now, I'm gonna outline this hat, and I will show you what that looks like. Here we are, people. It's all sanded. He's all done. We have a sleeping Santa ready for paint. Thank you for following along. You're a real trooper if you made it. Like I said, this is all done using this one knife. Nothing else was used for this. It goes faster if you use tools. You can do it quicker, you can do it a little bit better if you use chisels, but for this tool, with this one tool, you can make a Santa. And that's the important part. It's cheap and it's doable. As I said, you can go to Beavercraft. They have these kinds of tools. They also have chisels if you want. But for just one tool, or with just one tool, you can make a Santa like this. It does not have to be expensive. It does not have to be complicated. Here we go. Hope you had fun. Thanks for following along.